I think there is a simplicity to like waking up and saying, I'm gonna be happy today, and approaching it that way versus what do I need to do to be happy, or what kind of even if happiness is your goal, and it's like you can have all these different methods that might just kind of get in the way and like take a lot of extra time.
All your effort and energy and power, really, your attention is your power, and you're giving that away to something else rather than your own.
It's postponing the result when you could really more so directly just decide, this is the result I'm having, rather than this is the result I want once, and I think that doing these things would create it.
Yeah. What's neat about it is, regardless of what, like, how you go about any actions, like, I'm miserable, I need to fix this so that I can be happy, or like there's going to be fruits of your labor regardless of what you do in any direction. So like you could be like, I'm miserable, this is what I need, I'm miserable, this is what I need, I'm miserable, this is what I need, etc. And then there's I want to be happy, so I'm going to do these, I'm going to be happy. So like, just no matter what you do, things are going to happen and things are going to work out, and you're going to have different results with all of them regardless of what's going on, and life will just surprise you. Like, you can't predict where you're going to be in a few years, but you can make decisions loosely going in the directions you want to go, and you end up there. So no matter what decisions you make, you're going to end up somewhere that is going to have certain things in your life at a future time that then you get to work with them eventually too. So the path, or not the path, but the way you are on your path, being happy or being miserable and anything between, like that's your decision to make, because no matter what you do, something's going to happen. So it's like, do you want to be happy while a bunch of things are happening and then be happy with the results, or do you want to be miserable while a bunch of things are happening and then be happy with the results, or be miserable with the results, or whatever? It's just like, how much happiness and how much misery do you want during anything, and then whatever results come of any of those things. The thing that you get to decide throughout that duration is the being happy or being miserable, or anything else. Like, it's not like happy and miserable are directly parallel. There's like happiness as kind of like what you will end up being if you just didn't block yourself with a bunch of stuff, and then there's like sadness and anger and guilt and like all these things that kind of trickle down with it. Like, how do you want to block yourself today? And then you go down your path and it's like, oh, going through these blockages, gotta find little detours here, and I'm trying to aim at that result, and you just keep running out of blockages, and eventually you're just like, maybe I'll be a little happier, a little happier, a little happier, and it's like, oh, that's a clear path, and then you're just good. If that kind of analogy or map made any sense.
Yeah, well, I think where to clarify that analogy, maybe just to not like what you said at the end there, oh, that's a clear path. Well, just take the path and separate it from the feeling or from the state of being, and then they're not. What path am I on is the one that makes me happy.
I just remembered the thing. The thing that you said is good ARN topic.
Instead of lining up, I want to, or finding the clearest path. Well, yeah, the happier you are, probably the path would be clearer. But even if you're on a rough path, the happier you are, the happier you are. So it's not...
I love how the deep topics always sound so ridiculously simple and like just goofy, really, if you just straight state it like blankly. So you need like all these contexts and like analogies, but the happier you are, so you just be happy. But yeah, it is a completely separate entity and framework than the doing things, but where people...
The state of being is.
Yeah, state of being. And the more you dip into out of happiness and into forms of misery and all of its many expressions, or basically the expression is like a lack of joy, a lack of peace will naturally have a blockage, and that friction, that polarity or conflicting thing, the resistance is the thing that allows you to see what the blockage is. So it's not like there's sadness, and like it's not like you dip out of happiness into frustration or jealousy or guilt or anger or whatever. It's that you drop out of happiness, and then whatever resistance you end up against, whatever friction is happening in life, then it expresses as, then you can see how it's manifesting. So it's like anxiety. Like, you drop out of happiness, and then there's stuff in the world, and it's like, okay, you've now dropped out of being you and your perfect, in like your natural state, and you're now wading, like trying to swim through a bunch of crap that's in your consciousness, that's like souping up in your mind and like all these ideas, and then you come up against walls, and it's like anxiety, and then if you keep hammering against that anxiety and digging yourself into anxiety, eventually you end up with what people would diagnose as disorders or something, but really you've just been pushing on your anxiety and like suppressing things and trying to force things outside of you to change and all this other stuff and building it up, and then it's like, I'm a very anxious person, and now you can put a label on it because that is the way that your lack of clarity has manifested, and you've dug yourself into it so deep. But the result of getting out of anxiety, I mean, not getting out, it's easing up and stop pushing, and you start letting go and developing clarity. It's not you're getting out of anxiety, you're just developing clarity. Anxiety will naturally pass. And it's the same with anger. If you have anger and you get clarity, anger naturally passes. You get, no matter what the friction is that is manifesting as the expression, so you could say something like, I am a judgmental person, I am a vulnerable person, I am a something person. No matter how, like anxious person, angry person, whatever it is, you can say that only because directly proportional to how lacking you are in clarity, because the more clarity you get, all of those things lead to the same point of just happiness, contentment, and your energy is there, your vitality, you're inspired, motivated, and all of your power is with you. So like the end point of all those is just like, that's the way you will see the friction of your messed up block, like mental disorientation and confusion is going up against friction, and as your confusion lessens because you get clarity, they all go to the same point. So like happiness is the only thing that is actually real. The rest of it is just the perception that you have of something. So it's confusion is the basis for it.